How many dropped frames are we doing? Is that too much?
Check 1 2 testing testing. This is us live to see if we don't have any playback.
Okay. Turn off all internet devices. Check. See if that can run everything. It looks like everything's in sync. Okay. All right, well, let's give this a shot. Okay. Put the chat down here somewhere. I'll check the chat in a minute. Okay. So now we're here. Now we're there. I'll have to trim this part. All right, hey, what's up, guys? Jordan Anderson here. So let's talk about these two things: two creative roadblocks, or two mindsets, or it's more just like mindsets or fallacies that are kind of holding you back. So let me talk about the first one. The first one I want to talk about is perfectionism. So with perfectionism, I think every creative feels this. It's the idea that what you're doing is not good enough yet, or it's not. Oh, now I'm in. Make sure I'm not double audio there. Okay. It's like we're getting it down. With perfectionism, it's this sense that I'm not good enough. It's this sense that the work I'm doing is not good enough. Or because what I see, it's a lie. It's a lie we're telling ourselves. It's an excuse we're telling ourselves that it has to be better, or it has to be just a little bit better, or it's not quite there, or it's the same. We complain about it all the time with our clients, that when a client says, it's not quite there, I'll know it when I see it, and that just kind of drives you crazy. But we kind of allow it with our own work. We allow it with what we do in our personal lives, in our personal creative world, that I'll know it when I see it. I'll be, once I know that this video is ready, once I know that this photo is edited just right, once I get the color grade down, or the graphics or the animation to flow just right, or website, any creative endeavor that you're doing, you're kind of slowly lying to yourself that I can do this, or like, I can do this, I can get it to the end, I can get it to 100%, I just need a little bit more time. And what this does, it just slows you down, and it prevents you from moving on to the next thing. Or I'm just thinking like in art class. I remember in art class in like middle school, like you couldn't just work on one piece. You had to do like 5 pieces for the whole year. So if you worked on one little piece for the entire year, you would miss the other 4. Or even the kind of idea is that with perfectionism, it's preventing you from doing better work and improving your work because you're so focused on one thing. What has kind of liberated me with my work, and I made a video about this probably like 4 years ago. It was about just kind of getting the work done. Like the quality of the work doesn't matter. Like it's all about just kind of getting the reps in. I mean, it's like if I can do 200 videos and you only do 1 video a year, who's going to have a better work? Who's going to have more reps? Who's going to walk through more troubleshooting problems? Who's going to see more different perspectives? The person that does the more work. That it's not just about who has this one big piece, because in the world that we live in, it's a content-driven world. It's not just about like, okay, I made 1 YouTube video this year. Okay, this doesn't really do you much, doesn't really get you that much further. It should be about how much work you're able to produce. And I'm going to move to the next slide. And this is another thought I had. It was about like the pending versus done. And this is kind of like has to deal with your productivity a little bit, that you have, speaking me personally, I have so many podcasts that I've done in the past. I have tons of blog drafts, ideas that are just all kind of sitting in the pending box, or they are like or videos that I have that are just half edited, that they're almost ready to go. Make sure I'm like in focus. So they're almost ready to go. They're almost there, or I just like fizzled out, or I just didn't feel like I was there, or like, because perfectionism doesn't always have to do with the quality of work you're doing, or like how cool it looks, or the animation, or the video that you're producing. It can also be a self-confidence issue. Perfection can be this thing saying, when you're teaching something, when you're explaining something, when you want to start branching out and feeling like an expert and teaching something to your peers, to a student, that there's this well, I'm not good enough, or I have to read a few more books in order to understand this, or I have to take a few more courses, or I don't have a degree in this, so I shouldn't be talking about this. That's perfectionism thinking. Marks before I can even begin to do the work, before I can even begin to talk about whatever it is I want to talk about. If I want to talk about marketing, I don't need a marketing degree. I don't need to have taken every single marketing online course there is, or take some HubSpot certification or anything like that. I need to start working in it, doing it, and then explain it as I'm teaching it, or teach it as I'm learning it, to put it a better way. And it's like that can, and then to kind of bounce back with the idea of pending versus done. If you don't, hang on, let's see my next slide. Yeah, with pending versus done, to kind of wrap that thought up, is the world is the judge for your work. The artist, the person creating it, isn't the judge of the work. You have such a warped perspective coming out of art school, coming out of film school, that you are really kind of putting yourself in the mindset, or you're judging your work based on like how your professors would judge your work. Like the design, the colors, the balance, the shape, all those kind of elements of design. That's how you're judging it, the pacing, the flow of the video. The regular person doesn't look at videos like that. They don't look at photos like that. They don't analyze the golden ratio when they're looking at the work. They don't really care. It's more of are you hitting them emotionally? Are you speaking directly to them? Are you providing them some kind of new insight or some kind of like aha moment? That's what I mean. It's like when we are creating work, we're looking at it through the eyes of like our old professors and saying like, well, I'm not good enough, or I would get like a C+ on this, so I can't post this. In the real world, C+ is good. C's get degrees, baby. So just post it, and like you have to get it out into the world, and you have to start getting feedback. And even the lack of feedback is feedback. We're afraid that if we put something out, or we post a video, or if we go live on YouTube, or we do anything in kind of the social media world, that if we share it, nobody sees it. That could be that. If you're just starting out, having no feedback could be a sign that it's just not there. You haven't built up an audience yet, but it's not really for you to judge at that point. You have to just kind of get it done, move on, and be okay with it. Like it takes a bit of maturity, I think. It's not to say like you are immature if you're just kind of sitting on your own work, or like wanting to push it to the very end, but when you're kind of able to have a little bit of self-awareness, and you're kind of able to have a little bit of, the best way to put it is maturity. That this is okay. I'm okay with this. I can move forward with this, and move on, because you're gonna get them on the next time. So, next part of perfectionism I want to talk about is starting new projects, and this kind of goes back to what I'm saying about, feeling not good enough. There's a little bit of tinge of perfectionism, that it's not, you're not good enough, or you have to get good enough. You have to get all these qualification marks before you're able to teach something, or sell something, or offer this as a service to your clients. With starting new projects, this is this kind of what I'm talking about with social media too, that when we are so perfectionist that we get kind of afraid to like push out new work, or we want to stay in our safe little zone, because this is what we know, this is what we feel comfortable with. And if we're not pushing ourselves, if we're not going forward, then it's going to, we're not going to improve, we're not going to grow, and we're not, like I said at the beginning, we're not going to get those reps in. We're not going to get what we need the reps, especially when we're starting early on. We need to do this over and over on a daily basis, a consistent basis, because that's how we grow. That's how we get better and better. When we are hold back and so afraid of, I got to be a perfectionist, I can't do this. I got to be, just kind of really held back, and only until I'm really good, or until I've mastered this effect on After Effects, then I can start doing this, or then I can put it out into the world. That'll hold you back. You're not going to get any kind of work done, and you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer from it. All right, let's see how we're doing on YouTube. All right, how we're doing. It says I'm dropping frames. I don't even know if the frame is healthy enough. Current bit rate. Is the stream healthy? Let's see. We have Nathan here. What's up, Nathan? How's it? Maybe you're still watching, maybe you're not. All right, let's see. How do I check the health of my stream? Doctor, it says it's excellent. It says the stream quality is excellent. Your current bit rate is higher than the recommend. Okay. We recommend a stream bit rate of 4,500 kilobytes. All right. Let's do 6,000 then. I just don't want my computer to catch on fire. And I lower the bit rate, and then it automatically just starts like buzzing that much less. Let me kind of hit. I'm just gonna start recording on Audacity just to get this down as a podcast, because I was recording. I got a new computer, upgraded it a little bit, but now I'm like seeing if the stream still is safe enough to move forward. But we're streaming in HD. Okay. All right, I'll take it. I will take it. All right. Already enough of that. Enough of that. All right, folks, let's move on to the next. The next thing that's holding us back as creatives is cynicism. And I got a lot to talk about this. Let's talk about it. I can be a cynical asshole sometimes. I can be pessimistic sometimes. I can just look at the world. I'm a realist. I look at the world just like as it is, or I try not to be fluffy about it or super optimistic, or anytime I hear someone say like you can do it, or like you just got to believe in yourself, or you just, if you know, the real secret is inside you. Like whenever I heard that, or like 2 years ago, it's been so cringe. Just been like ew, no, like give me the facts. What can I do? I've been addicted to the facts for too long, and that's been a very cynical part of my life. And I'm trying to get out of that. I don't want to be cynical about the facts. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on things. But with cynicism, the biggest aspect, or the most recent aspect of my cynicism, has come from business and sales. And what do I mean by that? So with business and sales, I'm talking mainly about, I would look at other people, I would look at other business people, and we'll talk about peers here in a minute, but like I would look at and I think rightfully so. I would look at the people doing the like $1 million cars and like, you know, putting the money on the mattress. So, you know, like I'm a guy in my 20s. I'm like probably in that demographic where I'm just gonna get marketed those shitty ads on Instagram where it's just like, you know, you can do like just buy real estate and like all, you know, all that shit. Like I think it's safe to say, I think it's safe to be cynical of that stuff, or to look at those stuff as like that's a scam. That's just like jacking you up, or like that's an MLM or something. It's like, so that aside, but not everything can be cynical. So like I would just apply that, like just copy paste apply that to any kind of business I would look at. Like, oh, of course they're successful because they're just like ripping people off. And it's like and me and my little creative bubble world, nerdy world, I would just be like, oh, you know, that would again, like perfectionism, it's a lie I would tell myself, and I would kind of feel comfortable with it. I would go into my little safe world saying like, well, you know, it's like that's why, that's okay. That's like, I'm okay being that way. Like those people are jerk offs, and those kind of just like jerk off salespeople, because they are just all about the money. They're all about the business. They're power hungry. They're money hungry. Who wants to live like that? Who wants to have that kind of, who, you know, like fancy cars and exotic trips and that has so little taste, and that is so beneath me, and I'm better than that, and I live a distinguished life, and I'm come from a world of philosophy and a morally just world, and it's just like that kind of world.Ose people are scammers. All they do is rip people off, and it's easy to think like that. It's easy to be very cynical and just let your life be driven by that, And for the longest time, that has kind of lulled me into a sleep a little bit. That, well, I'm not going to learn that kind of business stuff. I'm not going to learn about pricing. I'm not going to like strategy and market. I like marketing because it's storytelling. I'm not going to learn sales and how to send cold emails and do cold calling. I don't need to learn that because that's pushy. That's being a jerk off salesman. That's being money hungry. And that lie that I told myself that lulled me into a sleep that I don't have to learn that stuff, and then ended up biting myself in the ass, or that it biting me in the ass because I just failed at it in my business. I was not, I wasn't able to develop those skills. I thought if I just am good at marketing, or if I'm just good at shooting video, or doing a couple tricks on Photoshop, then that's going to get me there. But with the thing, yes, those people can, the Lamborghini folks, like those, like that kind of shit is phony. That kind of shit is scam. Like, watch out for that. But it's a gradient. It's a spectrum. It's not just, you got all the art kids on one side and you got all the business majors, business management nerds on the other side are just talking about stock bros and, all that Chad shit. It's like there is a balance, or not like, don't just judge a book by its cover. I was being so binary that you're either in the art world where you just love taking great photos and making great videos, or you're in this business, money, taxes, spreadsheets, Excel, like cold world. And there's gradient, and to find that balance, to get in the middle, to say like, I want to take the art world, take the design, the nice design elements, and bring in some taste. Because that's the problem with the folks in the business world. They don't have the taste. They're just cold black and white, straight line, left and right. It's just, a grid pattern, no taste, unpolished. But they're the shit. A lot of times other people actually get, damn, I'm burping. There's a lot of people getting they're getting the shit done. And it was, the cynical thought of me was just like, well, I would just say, like, I don't need to learn that. So what I got over that. I got over that lie to say, I need to go step into that business world. I need to go step into the sales world. I need to understand maybe not what they're doing. I don't need to go learn the real estate game or anything like that, but maybe understand how they're doing it, or maybe understand how it is that they're setting up their business, or how they're talking to customers, or how are they able to drive sales with a website that just looks like crap. There's no design. It's clunky. It looks like it's from 1998. How are they able to convince people to get out their wallet? Because I got this nice, beautiful website. I got this cool, fancy video, and I got like 2 people signing up. Maybe, barely. So I'm like, so there's something you can learn from that. And that's the with perfectionism, I think it's a lie that we tell ourselves, and it kind of keeps us in a safe little bubble. With cynicism, it's a roadblock, or with cynicism, it's just like, yeah, it's like a roadblock. And we're like, if perfectionism is like walling yourself in, building a little safe world, like perfectionism is like a roadblock, or like tying yourself to a tree and like trying to run 70 miles an hour, and then you just get, leashed back to the tree or something. Like you're going in a car without, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a freaking metaphor on the fly. I can't think of one. Let's move on. I'm blanking out. All right. So with business and sales, this other part I want to talk about is cynicism with peers. And if you're in college right now, let me tell you my little college story. I'd been doing video production since I was, and let me make sure the chat's still working. Cool. Let me tell you my little college story. I've been doing video production since I was 13 years old. I was doing home videos. It all started we'd have like birthday parties, and we just do these like, instead of like playing games or playing Xbox or board games or hide and seek or whatever. I don't know, we're 13. Maybe you don't play hide and seek when you're 13 years old. Maybe we did. Maybe we played like laser tag, hide and seek. But my mom had this video camera, and we had a bunch of Nerf guns. So it was like, okay, why don't we just start shooting a movie? I got this little DV tape. It can only shoot forwards and backwards. So we would just make a movie. That was like, we eat birthday cake. It'd be 9, 10 o'clock, and we started making a movie. And we made our first movie from 10 o'clock at night all the way till 6 in the morning. Like, we filmed the last scene at sunrise. And it was a little mini DV tape, so There was, you could only go forwards and backwards. So you would record something, hit stop, and that would stop the tape. And then you'd go back, watch the tape, see if it was good. And if it was good, you'd fast forward back to the very end before the blue screen. And then right as you got to the blue screen, you'd stop, so you don't want to write over your good take. And then you hit the next take. And we did that over and over, and it's just like the passion built up inside me, and just found that I can follow an education with it, and found that I could I can go to college for it. So I was kind of like, and I'd been doing videos like all through high school, just trying to become as much as a whiz kid as I could. And I came into college freshman year. I felt like a whiz kid, making videos, tons of videos, making those party it was big like to make those like college party videos at the time. It was like, I can't remember what it's like. Yeah, somebody find the YouTube videos where it was like back in like 2012, where it was all just about like, I'm schmacked. That was it. I'm schmacked. They would just go around college places, and it's kind of like today's all gas no brakes, the early version of that, but just college parties. So we'd make something like that, and I was like, and that was kind of like getting my reps. I was making tons of videos, and so I felt pretty good. And then I would go to class, and college experience, they don't really start teaching you the stuff until the end of sophomore year, the beginning of junior year, because the first 2 years you got to do all the English, you got to do all the math, science, philosophy, all your art major shit you got to get out of the way before they even start to give you a camera. And then sophomore year you got the camera, and I was working with my classmates, and I'm like assuming all these people are kind of at my level, and here we go. This is like my cynical thinking. This is where it gets kind of pessimistic. I was thinking everyone was at my level, and they weren't. We were working with the camera, and it was very one-on-one. This is a camera. This is how you put the lens on. This is how you put a battery in. This is the on switch. This is what white balance is. It was very like, okay, yeah, it's one-on-one, classic one-on-one stuff. And I grew bitter from that. I grew kind of like, what are these, like, how are these, there were like these girls in class, or there's some of these guys in class, they just like, it's like they had never seen a camera before. And I was so cynical, or like so full of myself. I had such a fucking big ego in college that I was just like, I'm so much better than these people. How, like, I've been doing this for, it's, you're in college at 18, 19. So it's like, I had been making videos using cameras for the last 6 years. And these people, this is the first time they've ever seen a camera. And that like pissed me off. And I was just like clearly immature in thinking, and just leading life with my ego. And that was my cynical thought. I was like, these people don't know anything. And I just kind of and then I started to like close myself off, kind of brick by brick, that I'm better than these people. I don't need to associate with these people. And it like, now that I think about it, it probably fucked me up. It probably it closed myself off to opportunities that could have been there. I looked at a peer who wasn't as good as I was at video, or I would get mad. I realized that I tend to project insecurity, or I tend to project timidness. When people are timid, or when people are unsure of themselves at a skill, I tend to like get angry inside. And I realized that kind of projection that's a projection in me. Like, I get mad when I'm like timid or unsure of myself. And I kind of, when I see somebody else do that, like, that frustrated me. So we're getting like super analytical, psychoanalytical here. But that cynicism in me, I would just start to break myself off, saying, I'm better than these people. What's the point of working with these people? I'm just going to be carrying all the load. They don't care about this as much as I do. They have no passion. And what do I need them? Who needs them? Like, and that's where I just kind of pushed myself off from my peers. And that's when it also, too, at the same time, became a competition. And that's what I've told college kids now, that inside your college major, with your classmates, it's your only world, so it's kind of like that's what you think. You have no kind of perspective. When you're in college, you have no perspective beyond college. You think like your entire world starts in the beginning, middle, and end is college. And so you start to think like, okay, these aren't my peers anymore. These are my competitors. These aren't my colleagues anymore. These are my enemies. And you start to get really, really negative, and start to like really gamify it and say like, I gotta be better. And like the competition in you comes out like, I gotta be better than you. I gotta get better than you. When how the grading worked, how the competition worked, how, not the competition, how like the curriculum worked. Well, none of it was based on competition or who had the best video. It was just, we were all just judging our own work for our own work. Like, we'd go make a video project and we'd show it to the class, and then we just judge it based on that. We wouldn't say like, well, it was better, not as good as Tommy's, but it wasn't, Jordan's was the best, or let's vote on the winner. It was never that. I mean, or if it was like one class. So it was never there, and there was, at the very end, there was no like competition, or the video production industry is so widespread. There's no like Google or Facebook like recruit or Amazon recruiting like just video production people. It's such a spread out industry that there's not going to be like competition at the end of the year where you and your classmates are fighting over one job position, because it's just so spread out. It can go anywhere. You can do anything. But that cynicism, that closed me off. So that was just like, and I look at that, I'm like, why was I such, why was I such a loner? Why was I such like, I had to look at this like so cutthroat, so cynical. And had I opened myself up, had I not been so cynical at the process, at my classmates, it could have opened myself up to new opportunities, a bigger network, and a potential, my life could have been in a totally different direction, or I could have made a totally different set of friends who opened me up to a new opportunity, or, maybe I'm not here. Maybe I'm not sitting in this chair because of what I did, or because of the people that I met. And it's like, I mean, it's kind of silly to think about that in the past, but like, that's kind of, speaking from experience, like that was like my darkest moment of cynicism in college. I was just looking at everything like a competition. I was, it was I'm better than you, and that, I mean, that's what, in a weird way, that's what led me to starting my own company, because I was like, I'm better than everybody else, so I'll just go start my own thing, screw all these people, and just learning that you really, you can start a business yourself, you can make your own stuff, but it's not really going to be without anybody else, or without knowing anybody else, or any way to kind of connect, like I said at the beginning, kind of connect those sales to the creative. You're just kind of on your own island, and it's like, cool, like you built your own little fort, and you got your own little, you're on your own little island. Cool, now you're the king of the island, but you're in the middle of the ocean. You're all by yourself, and you're going to starve, and you're going to run out of stuff because you've closed yourself off to everybody. You've closed yourself off to opportunity, and it ain't coming back. Or you're going to have to, build a raft, get off this island, open yourself up to opportunity, and just be a little humble, and swim elsewhere to find, new opportunities. So those are my kind of two lessons on cynicism and perfectionism. They've held me back. With perfectionism, to kind of recap, just kind of go for it. If you're thinking about starting a project, if you're thinking about, when I tell people that are starting a brand or starting their own company, or when you're choosing something, choose 1 to 2 things. And I don't want to get too far into like pushing a marketing lesson, but choose 1 to 2 new things and explore it, and be okay with, have some self-awareness with your perfectionism. Perfectionism's good, but there needs to be kind of a blend of kind of good laziness, like being be a lazy entrepreneur where you're just like, that's kind of good enough. Like, let's launch, let's get it up, let's get the site up, let's get hit publish. We can edit it later. We can change the copy later. We can, if it doesn't work, if the title's weird, we'll just change the title. We'll change the thumbnail. Just get it up. Let's just get it up. Let's test it. Let's see how people react to it. If they like it, we'll make more of it. If they don't like it, we'll make something different. That's perfectionism. With cynicism, it's all about just really closing your mind off to things. It's about the problem is you go this kind of deeper and deeper into your little, like, I'm a little, I'm, like I said, you're on your own island. You're just kind of like, you can be nasty, you can be pessimistic, and you start to close yourself off to opportunities, friends, network, to where you're just, hey, now you're by yourself. Have fun. You could be a cynical little pessimistic asshole all by yourself. Have fun with that. We're going to be over here having a good time, opening ourselves up to ideas and opportunities. Peace. So that's kind of, yeah, I mean, that is a cynical, pessimistic way to look at cynicism, but, it is what it is. So, all right, the stream's doing great. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I mean, like, I'm This feels good. If anyone sees any, it seems like the stream looks good. So I'm like keep bumping the microphone by accident. What else is on the list? But that's it. Perfectionism, cynicism. Yeah, what else we got to talk about? Oh, let me tell you about one other thing. So while I got you guys here, it's not quite ready, and maybe this ties into the perfectionism aspect. It's not quite ready, but I'm working on launching a new product, kind of building a new offering for you guys. Like I said, it's not quite ready. I'm still like, let me get it pulled up. I've been on I should show you guys the Webflow stuff that I'm working on right now. So get this. Can I get this wide enough? All right, maybe. Oh, I got the mobile version. Yeah, let me show you guys. So, widen this up a little bit. So I'm working on something. Oh, let me add a little white background here. Color source here. Give me some pure white. Thank you. Nope. Almost there, folks. All right, boom. And we'll lock the white source. Okay. Yeah, let me switch over to this. This is you don't need to see my browser. All right, check. Okay. So I'm working on the perfect wedding package, is what I'm calling it. Give me a little bigger. There we go. Okay. Nope. Still not. Crop my ass. You're getting cropped, Jordan. There we go. Boom. Okay. So I'm working on this. This is not quite done. This is the perfect wedding package, and it really is. This has forced me to get over my perfectionism. This has forced me to say, Jordan, you can talk about this. You are allowed to talk about this. You know your shit. Like, you have to, like, overemphasize. Like, I know my shit. I can talk about this. So this whole pricing thing is a guide. It's a video tutorial lesson. It's coaching. It's kind of a whole big package. It's not just it's not just one thing. It's like I've got a whole kind of bundle built into here. I've got the trailer. I've got a nice little. Oh, okay. See, I'm working. It's still a work in progress. Look at that spacing. We got to work on that spacing, folks. We got to get the mobile version right. So I kind of want to go through and see what you guys think. I want you guys to test this out. I have this linked below. It's the jordanpanderson.com/wedding package. And this is my shot at showing you guys that I can do this. I can teach you guys how to do this. This is all about really perfecting your pricing. This is about and maybe this comes from, maybe you yourself are feeling cynical, or maybe you yourself are feeling like a perfectionist that, and I'm going to sound like a devilish asshole here, but like, when it comes to raising your prices, when it comes to working with clients, like the biggest challenge a lot of creatives have is that they can't raise their prices, or they don't feel like they're allowed to raise their prices. Or the perfectionist comes in and says, well, once you have 5 years of experience, then you can raise your prices. Or once you've done 200 weddings, then you can raise your prices. And then the cynical side of you, or if the perfectionism doesn't paralyze you, then the cynicism comes in and goes, who do you think you are to charge this much? Or like, people aren't going to pay that much. Or why do you think they would charge, what gives you the right? That's, the cynical, or like, oh, look at you. Now you're raising your prices. What are you, some business person? What are you, like some, like, just all about the money, jerk off salesperson? Like, so the two things come, like, you can't escape it. Or at least it's like, it's always going to be here with you, that there's going to be perfectionism to say you're not good enough, or this isn't good enough, and then there's going to be cynicism. Okay, maybe this is the articulation. Perfectionism is saying that art that I'm working on is not good enough, and cynicism is saying you are not good enough. So we all have to break that, and I'm hoping that with this guide, with this template, with this package, that we are able to break it, that we are able to kind of work through it. So with this, you get the perfect wedding package, and then you get in-depth video lessons, and then on top of that, I'm throwing in a little bonus stuff here because I want to not just give, I can do a video tutorial like this. I can do a PDF, you can read that. But I want to throw on top of all of that to do a one-on-one wedding package workshop where I want to give you guys some kind of personal attention on your price sheets, because you can be kind of alone in space, you can watch the lessons, but if you don't really have that kind of guidance, that direct guidance, like custom guidance on your particular work, the particular problem you're working on, it's not as effective. So with a bonus, you get a one-on-one package, you get the workshop. I'll also, another thing too is I'm going to throw in the bonus is the photography website audit, because what I found was people don't want to, it's hard to raise your prices, or it's hard for clients to accept a higher price from you when they don't value or they don't think you're valuable enough. So with what I thought would make the most sense with the bonus is to throw in a photography website audit. That way it's, I want to go through your website. I want to see where the pain points are, or see where, I want to take like a client's perspective and say, where are the issues? Where is, it doesn't exactly make sense. The client, but you have to think a client you can't give the client instructions. You can't stand over the shoulder of the client as they're going through the website and go, no, click there, now scroll down. Okay, and keep scrolling a little further. I want to kind of give you some like tough love, some tough love on your website, and that will show you like everything you need to know, or just say like, hey, here's some suggestions. This is where I found confusing. This didn't exactly make sense. And then on top of that, I really want to kind of keep the learning process going by adding some access to me on Discord. You can, email is one thing, but I want you guys to kind of be able to directly chat with me, send me your direct problems, because after the workshop, after the photo audit, the photo website audit, that you might still have questions. So I kind of want to give you that access to that. If you ever still have questions, ping me directly right to my phone, and I text you right back. So all of that, to me, feels like, and that's what I'm working on too. Like, is this enough? And I think it's enough. To me, it feels like when I break all this down, this is $4,900 of stuff for $97. I'd priced it at $97 because it makes sense. But if you just want the template, you can just do the template, whatever people feel comfortable with. And that is kind of what I'm working on. Like, I've been working on this website for the last 2 weeks now to try to make this work. And it feels like we're almost there. So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's in beta, because that just like makes it like, it makes it too official. But it's still like in the works. There's still some kinks to work out with the website, but to give you guys an example, or to lead by example, I want to show you that I can put out half done work and still tweak it and still find the problems and be okay and be comfortable with just putting it out there, seeing what happens. And so let me check the chat real quick. Nathan in the chat, looking like, let's see, is there anything similar to this that's not for wedding videos? I'd say so. Like, a lot of the principles that I teach in this, I'm not going to say like this is for everybody, because it's not. This is mainly aimed at wedding photographers. This can apply to wedding videographers. That's kind of how I've created the content, created the curriculum. But I would say the core principles of it, how you set up your price sheet, how you have the conversation, how you create the context around value, that all makes sense. That all can apply to other realms. All that can apply to, I've taken these same principles and applied it to, other parts of my business, other projects. I've done marketing consulting jobs with this type of pricing work. I've done documentaries with this type of work, and I've done website rebuilds using these kind of similar pricing principles, these similar conversation template formulas, however you want to call it. So yeah. So to answer your question, Nathan, yeah, it's like it is. This is aimed at wedding photographers, a little bit aimed at wedding videographers, but if you find interest in it, it might be able to, it might have some crossover. And I forgot to mention that with all this, and I want you guys to check out this video on here. This is my little trailer that I made. All like, I want some feedback on this because I don't know if it's yeah, I need some feedback on this because I shot all this myself, like selfie video, just out in public, just staring at a camera. So let me know if the edit is good. And then, as always, I want to talk about this because I don't feel like people talk about this enough in their business or when they're selling a product or when they're offering a service, is the guarantee. So the guarantee that I have, and I picked this up, you can look this up. It's Tim Ferriss's lose-win guarantee. I used to work at a supplements company that did this exact same principles where they was saying it's a lose-win guarantee that if you don't like it, let me kind of set it up. The typical problem with a typical have 100% satisfaction guarantee is that if you don't like it, you have to go bug the company, and you have to go through these email processes and customer service to get it, and they say, okay, we'll give you a refund, but first you have to ship us the product back, and it's just like, that's too much of a hassle. With this, it's like all the risk is on me. I will, you can go through every single process, do every single bonus, do the entire product, read everything, watch all the videos, get all the questions answered, and at the very end you can still say, I didn't like this, or I didn't feel like this was worth the money. And you say, Jordan, this wasn't worth the money, I want a refund. And I say, cool, no problem. Refund on the spot, no questions asked. And you keep the product. Or what the cool part about it, when I was working at the supplement company, I'm like talking too fast. The supplement company